Gentleman from Minnesota is recognized for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, we all know that the medical technology industry is one of America's leading manufacturing industries and has huge potential to continue being a vehicle for creating jobs. This American success story employs more than 400,000 workers, pays salaries 40% higher than the average national wage, is one of our country's few industries that actually exports more than it imports. And it is an industry that is fueled by innovation and is made up of mostly small businesses. 80% of these businesses have less than 50 employees. 98% of them have less than 500. Most importantly, however, this is an industry that saves and improves lives for patients. Medical devices help slash the death rate from heart disease by a stunning 50% and cut the death rate from stroke by 30%. But, Mr. Speaker, last January, a new $30 billion medical device tax was enacted as a part of Obamacare. It's not a tax on profit, it's a tax on revenue. It's a tax on sales. Nobody can explain why this industry was singled out, other than tens of billions of dollars needed to be brought in to pay for an over $1 trillion law. But you know what? The effects have been devastating. 10,000 job losses across the country have been announced. Companies are moving their operations overseas, and once these jobs move overseas, they don't just come back. Countless small, privately held companies, they've cut jobs and investment in research and development to deal with this onerous policy. And research and development is the very lifeblood of this industry. I have a letter, Mr. Speaker, from 975 organizations in support of repealing the device tax. 975. The signers include the Chamber of Commerce, the National Association of Manufacturers, numerous doctors and physicians and healthcare groups that are directly impacted by the tax. I'd ask unanimous consent to include it in the record, Mr. Speaker.
Without objection, so ordered.
Mr. Speaker, we know this tax is bad policy. We know there is support in this chamber and in the Senate to repeal this tax. Last year, the House passed the repeal legislation with overwhelming bipartisan support, but the Senate didn't act before the end of the year. But this year, we have 263 co-sponsors of legislation to repeal this tax. 263, far more than last year and more than enough to pass it in the House. And last April, when the Senate was debating their budget resolution, 79 senators voted their intention to also repeal the device tax. 79 senators, and 33 of those senators were Democrats. Mr. Speaker, how often do we have such an overwhelming bipartisan majority and support on such an issue? This is our opportunity. Winston Churchill is to have said that people occasionally stumble over the truth, but most of them pick themselves up and hurry off as if nothing ever happened. The truth that we all know about the medical device tax is that it has destroyed jobs, it's destroyed innovation, and it has hurt patient care. These are the very pillars that the health care law reform was actually supposed to support. Repealing this policy sends a very strong and common sense message to the American people that Congress may not always agree on what is the right path forward, but we can absolutely recognize when a policy has set us on the wrong path, and today we have an opportunity to right this wrong. This amendment repeals a tax that is threatening America's global leadership and innovation. This is about saving lives. It's important that we do act now and today. Let's stop the job losses. Let's protect these high-wage jobs, and let's ensure that America continues to invent, continues to innovate, and continues to develop the very cutting-edge and life-saving technologies for our patients. Vote for the repeal of the medical device tax. I yield back the balance of my time.
Gentleman yields back. The gentleman